Good day and welcome back to another DB Legends video. In this video we are going to be taking a look at who you should get with your sparking ticket in DB Legends. Now, I want to preface this by you should always grab units you want, but I'm going to tell you the best units to select for the current best teams in the game, or units you'll get from summons during the anniversary. And a lot of these units are going to be bench units. So these are going to be units that basically you're choosing for their Z boost for the rest of your team, more so than choosing them solely as usable options. They can be used, especially for new players, or as alternatives in certain situations. But for the most part, these units are going to end up being predominantly units that you stick on your team to boost other units more so than their direct performance. Now I'm going to start off with the units that do not need Zenkais. Most of these units are going to need Zenkais, and this is important because Zenkais are difficult to get for older units. You need to be able to do the Ultra Space Time Rush, and you can only get 3000 Zenkai power that way, which means it'll take you a while to even max them out. Doesn't mean you shouldn't get them. You should get them. You should do Ultra Space Time Rush, but ideally, you're going to have to make sure that you can Zenkai these units to benefit from their boost. The first two units, however, you don't need to Zenkai, and this makes them good options. The first is Green Mai, and the reason why she's so strong is because she provides a health boost to the future category. Now, future is a very strong tag, and when you can look at units that sit under the future tag, obviously the first ones that come to mind are units like Ultra Rose, but you also have Legends Limited Android 17 and 18, you have Blue Zamasu, you have Legends Limited Trunks and Vegeta, some very strong, good options. The next one we have is going to be the Super Saiyan God Goku. He boosts God Key's health and crit rate, and this is an incredibly powerful ability. It makes him still very relevant. God Key has some very strong options with Kaioken Goku, Ultra Gogeta, etc., all of which are very, very, very good units and basically make the team very strong. Even Ultra Rose is on this team. So God Key is very strong, and this makes Goku's Z boost skill very helpful. For those of you who don't know, health is like the #1 boost aspect, so it's a little bit difficult. So those are the two best units you don't have to Zenkai, which is important. Then obviously beyond that, we now look at one last option that you don't have to Zenkai, and this is Revival Goku. And the reason I recommend Revival Goku is because, well, units with a Revive are pretty good. He's got a nice C boost, and he suits God Key, which affects a lot of units you're probably going to be pulling during this celebration and just in general. And so he's pretty decent. He's also relatively tanky. So honestly, if I can suggest anything, I would suggest picking up Goku. That's kind of my last non-Zenkai suggestion. Now, to look at Zenkai units, obviously I think there's a couple that stand out. Firstly, we have Trunks and Mai Assist. So Trunks and Mai Assist are obviously one of the more recent Zenkai boosts. They're actually a useful unit in their own right, and they were useful before their Zenkai. And their Zenkai is actually made, they're one of the few units that's usable as an actual unit, alongside the fact that they boost some decent red units, half corrupted Zamasu, Super Saiyan Rose, who also boosts as well. Then, of course, just generally speaking, decent coverage in terms of their tags. It, is easy to say that they're a solid option, but they do at least provide some benefit towards units like Second Form Cell, Legends Limited 17 and 18, half corrupted Zamasu. So there's some decent, kind of overlay there. The next unit that we're going to be taking a look at is the Super Saiyan Rose, and much like Trunks and Mai, he's very useful from a boost perspective. covering Legends Limited 17-18, Half Corrupted Zamasu, and Second Form Cell. In fact, the kind of red future cross coverage team you can put together is pretty nutty, and with two really strong Zenkais like this, it is possible. However, I will say that this Goku Black, compared to the Trunks and Mai, is just not nearly as usable as a unit in comparison. He's aged quite substantially. He's solid enough, I would say. I have used him. He can still do good damage against yellows, but he isn't necessarily the craziest unit. Like, he's not out of this world. So decent, definitely still decent in terms of team. Then we kind of want to look at bringing ourselves up with a different option here, and this is going to be the red Great Sandman 1 and 2. These guys are useful from a lot of perspectives. They boost movie heroes and hybrid sands, and they boost episode from movie sagas with their Zenkai boost. Now this covers two pretty good units. It covers Pan, who's really solid, and then it also covers Final Form Cooler as well. So you can do a pretty interesting red episode sagas from the movie team. Cooler being covered by their Zenkai and Pan means that you get a pretty nice boost. Pan is currently a very in-meta unit for a lot of teams, but especially hybrid sands and especially sagas from the movies. So boosting these guys and boosting Pan is pretty good. It gives her a little bit more kind of gas to go along with her performance, which I think overall is a pretty good sign. Then, obviously, we can move on. Now we're starting to get to some, I don't want to say more left field choices, but I would say now we're starting to get to a couple super relevant units and then some more abstract units. So, when we look at the celebration, we're going to be popping a lot of Universal Survival Saga. We're going to be getting a lot of Rival Universe, and that's going to be important for the units we select. But now, in terms of continuing kind of the Red Brigade, we're looking at Android 13. Now, he's not as useful as Great Sandman 1 or 2, or as useful as Super Saiyan Rose, but he himself is actually pretty good. Again, he's a solid damage dealer, if anything else, and he also can boost 17 and 18 pretty well. So he's got some solid boost capabilities, and he can do some decent damage. Again, you can kind of throw him into a little bit of an androids mix there, really boost up 17 and 18. Then we have Lord Slug. This one I don't really like as an option. I've seen people recommend him. I know Regen's a couple units away from being a good team, but the chances of getting a blue Regen unit isn't super likely, and so banking on Slug being a solid bench option for that team right now just isn't for me. Regen is very close to being a top tier team. I just don't know if Lord Slug's the unit to kind of pre-select. I would at least wait if I'm going to choose him. Then we get Super Saiyan God Goku. He's also got a God Ki boost. God Ki boosts are always in vogue because God Ki is such a relevant team all the time. And yeah, on the blue side we have some decent God Ki units. You've got units like Zamasu, Super Saiyan God Vegito, so decent coverage there. And then the same token, Vegeta, he can be a good choice if you're looking to augment Ultra Gogeta, just because of the crossover. You could also boost Super Saiyan God SS Goku and Vegeta as well, and Ultra Instinct Saiyan Goku, who's probably getting an a Zenkai as well. So you do have good options from that perspective. That Vegeta is part of the kind of all-purple team that people usually run, and so he's definitely a good option from that perspective. Next, in terms of like solid pickups, I would say, Chilled is a good pickup in some circumstances. So LOE, or Lineage of Evil, which is a Wicked Bloodlines team, is not crazy. They're lacking a couple units, I will be honest, from being a super good team. Now, Goku and Final Form Frieza fit on this team, and Chilled is a great option as a boost for them. So if you're looking to eventually run LOE, I would pick up Chilled because of his Zenkai boosting that freezer. Alongside that, he does have a little added benefit as a unit. So his special attack, his ultimate attack, it provides a 70% paralysis, which can be good for teaching to Shallot. So for those of you who like running Shallot lineups, teaching Shallot that ability is pretty helpful, because the 70% paralysis can be a useful skill to have on a unit's ulti. So I would suggest contemplating picking that up, at least from my perspective. I think it could be something useful. Then beyond that, there's another useful pickup for like abilities, and that's SP Hercule. And Hercule, it's not so much about his Z ability. This time it's about teaching his ability to Shallot. And his dynamite kick's really interesting because it just resets your allies' timer counts. And this can be something really strong. Being able to sub in your allies a lot quicker is pretty powerful, especially when you combine it with the fact that Shallot can be placed on some pretty cool meta teams. So it could be an interesting pickup. In terms of the Zenkai boost units, we're kind of getting near the end of the units picked solely for Zenkai boost, or at least mainly for their boost. But there are some these are kind of like the top tier options, I would say, in terms of selection. So everything else has kind of been conditional, whereas I would say if you have the unit these guys boost, then they are a kind of almost necessary evil. So we have Bergamo. Bergamo is a health boost unit, which is pretty important, but he's also a Zenkai boost unit for Rival Universe. So not only does he give a health boost to Universal Survival Saga, which is obviously a category that's been buffed huge, but he's also a Zenkai boost for big name units like Hit and Ultra Instinct Goku. Oh, sorry, not Ultra Instinct Goku, Casserelle. So he can boost Casserelle, he can boost Hit. Very, very good on those teams. So I highly suggest you pick up Bergamo if you're someone who's interested in running that lineup. Then, of course, beyond that, probably the other top tier pick in terms of usability and just kind of functionality across the board, and a unit that can see, well, has already seen huge longevity in the game, and is just like a top option and remains a top bench option, at least from my perspective, is the Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks. Now, Gotenks is a health boost for Hybrid Saiyans and Fusion Warrior, which is big in its own right, but he's now also a Zenkai boost for Yellow Fusion Warrior. And this covers quite a few units. It covers Super Vegito, Ultra Rare. It covers the Super Saiyan God SS Goku, which is pretty big. So that's quite significant in terms of like just performance. And I think that'll keep him relevant for a pretty long time. Then I want to kind of mention the like Majin Buu Saga units that receive their Zenkais alongside as well that new equipment. So looking at Ultimate Gohan, green, Fat Buu, purple Super Saiyan 3 Goku, all of these units are good selections because they have received boosts. And they've received not only their Zenkai boosts, but they also received their equipment boosts. However, I still don't think Majin Buu Saga is in a crazy place as a team. So I would say you can select them, but overall, maybe just not. And then I just wanted to mention that Broly there, who boosts Gogeta and also boosts Legendary Super Saiyan Broly, who's also an Ultra. So he's a double Ultra boost, which is pretty crazy, and yeah, can definitely be used. But that's it. Hopefully that covers everything you guys need to know. Just as a kind of caution, if you are someone who's selecting a unit for their bench ability, please understand that Zenkai units have to be 7-star before they can be Zenkai'd. So if you're choosing one of these units and you don't have them or aren't about to 7-star them, then it's kind of pointless. And also, if you do 7-star them, you still have to get the Zenkai Awakening power. And that Zenkai Awakening power will come from, Ultra Space Time Rush. So you're going to have to get that Zenkai Awakening power, exchange for that Zenkai Awakening power, and then you're going to have to, use that Zenkai Awakening power on them as a unit. So you're going to have to do all of that before you can just, stick them into a team or do something of that nature. But yeah, that's basically it. I think that covers everything you need to know. From my side, any selection is a good selection as long as it aids your team. Don't just choose based off how cool the unit looks. Try and choose someone that'll at least be a good boost option. But that's going to be it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, bye.